And Caitlin, whenever you're ready to start, feel free.
Lovely. Thank you so much for welcoming me to this meeting this afternoon. My name is Caitlin Farrington. I am one of the professional advisors in the Rights Respecting Awards team, and I look after Northern Ireland and a variety of other regions throughout England as well. So really the opportunity here is for you to hear a bit about the award, what it is, how it relates to the Integrated Schools Programme, and what's involved, really. And then if anyone's got any questions at the end, I will be delighted to take those. So what we'll do is we'll finish the recording and then we'll take any questions that you might have. As you can see, we're aiming this afternoon just to tell you a little bit about the award. And then hopefully answer any questions that you might have when you have seen the presentation. So let me see. I just should say I'm usually used to working in Teams, so Zoom's a little bit clunky for me. So forgive me if some of the tech is slightly unfamiliar. So first of all, I really want to talk a little bit about what rights respecting is. It's probably easy to start with what it's not. It's not the kind of award, and we've all done those, where you spend thousands and thousands of pounds, you sit in a darkened room and you fill in a great big long form, and then some months later, they give you a small badge for your website. Not at all like that. It's about ethos and about a real transformation in terms of the culture of the school. We talk to thousands of schools. There are about 5,000 schools across the United Kingdom, which are part of the programme. We've got about 108 that are in Northern Ireland. And they'll talk to us about how, transformational being on the rights respecting journey is. Before I joined the rights respecting team, I used to lead a gold rights respecting secondary school in London. So I've seen the programme from both sides, from running it, as well as now advising schools and accrediting at the different levels. And it really does make a difference once you start changing the language of, you've got to come to school, or you have to do this, to a much more collaborative conversation around, well, you've got the right to come to school. How can we make that happen? How can we engage you in that process? And schools will talk to us about increased, confidence in reporting things that aren't right, and increased attendance, better outcomes, just that real sense of belonging that comes. And I know from working with my 11 integrated schools, how those values really, really align absolutely perfectly. And the same way that when you visit an integrated school, there's a certain feel, there's a certain something, and a real sense of inclusion. The same of a rights respecting school. You can kind of get that real feel of how everybody is respectful and understands their rights under the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So I'm going to show you, to start with, a short film. You'll notice there are some Northern Irish accents in there as well, which is fantastic. They're made up of a variety of different settings across the United Kingdom. And the reason that we show this film is because we want the children to talk about what is important to them. They were asked simply, what do you want to tell other schools about what rights respecting is, what it does, why they should join up. They wrote this, they did all the interviews, they planned it, they edited it. So it's really within our ethos of making sure that children have their voice and are engaged and included. So I'm just going to hand over to them for a few minutes because they frankly say it better than any of us do. Wave at me if you can't have any sound. Hopefully we'll be all right with this.
What we're going to do, we're going to be here, and then we're going to slide in front of the camera and say we have rights like this. We have rights.
And we're making our film to kind of show what rights respecting is all about.
I really like this.
Like learning about everyone else's rights and makes a positive difference to our school. Rights respecting in school means that they make sure everyone has their rights, like every child and every adult. Scene 1, take 1, action. Why do you care about rights?
Because understanding your rights gives you lots of power, and it means that you can change your life when you understand your rights.
Right Respecting Schools and all the articles ensure that young people in the school community can have their voices heard, that they know that they are respected and valued as part of the school community.
What difference does learning about children's rights make to the whole school?
It changes the whole structure of the school, and it changes the way our staff perceive digital learning. It has changed the way the school works and operates. It has really added a formal voice to the children.
Scene 2, take 1, action. Why do you think that it is important that adults listen to children?
Children often see things that adults miss or don't understand.
Let's go through this one.
And you know what? I think it's really important that adults don't forget what it was like when they were children.
I really hope adults listen to this and understand that it's really important for their kids to learn about their rights.
You all have to listen to other people.
So when we're older, we'll have some of our ideas there, some of our own inventions, some of our own there. Do you know what I mean?
What are the changings you have seen before we was right to respect in school?
I think when you think about rights respecting, it's all about culture. And what I've just really noticed is a huge change in the culture of the school. We are such an empathetic school. I think you see real acts of kindness. I think we're an incredibly supportive school. Everyone wants to help each other. And I think that's largely been due to us adopting the rights respecting school framework.
I'm going to climb up the tree.
I see children joining in with other people, letting people play. I also see children knowing their boundaries on privacy and everything.
It's incredible what a 5-year-old who knows about their rights can stand up and say. And you think if at 5 they can do that, what can they do when they're 10, the 15, the 20? And it can really create those future leaders for our society.
The rights respecting school has really strengthened the relationships between the pupils and the staff.
My favourite right is the right to an education.
It's just like nice. I'm not got any better way to describe it, but there's really good like staff and people like relationships, and I feel so comfortable and like welcomed in school.
Why should other schools become rights respecting?
I think it gives a really good framework.
I think a lot of people think they know about children's rights, and I think that's a misconception.
It really, I think, could have a transformative effect on our society if everybody learned about human rights and using their voice from an early age.
Best decision I think we made as a school.
I think every single school should be a rights respecting school.
I can honestly say the worst thing about this school is everywhere you turn there's an article, but it's pretty good if that's the worst thing.
I feel that I have had the opportunity to be part of creating a really special community, and I think it will stay with these children for the rest of their life. I think they will remember being loved and being respected and being empowered, and I'm going to cry if I talk about that too much. I think the ripple effect of how we treat children now, I think will go through their lives, and to be part of that is just the most incredible opportunity.
Since we're so proud of it, we want you guys to be proud too. So we want you guys to become part of the rights respecting. And I think that would be fantastic because it just creates a bigger community.
See, I told you they just say it so much better than I ever could. I never tire of watching that. I watch it at least once a week, even if I'm not doing training. It's fantastic. So, you know, as you can see, what learning about rights does for the ethos of a school is amazing. And clearly it links absolutely perfectly with the purpose of the integrated education. You know, it's about teaching human rights. It's about teaching human rights. It's about teaching about the special rights that children have under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And, you know, having seen how a number of my rights respecting integrated schools, you know, dovetail the two programs perfectly, you know, you can just see how amazingly aligned they are and how the children are already receptive to talking about inclusion and respect and integration. And so it just feels like a perfect match in terms of just aligning those things. And it's very, very rare that we get a school that will approach us that doesn't already have so many of those values already in mind and already aligned. So it's not like we're asking for, or expecting a complete shift in the opposite direction. What will happen is you'll start to teach about rights, and then you'll find that language just becomes something that is used throughout the school. It's used for restorative conversations, and having that's something that's shared, that you can use when you're talking with parents. We all know those difficult conversations that you might have to have with parents about maybe what's not gone right, and how perhaps you need to fall back on talking about being a rights respecting school means that everybody is expected to respect those rights. Is such a great shorthand, and for having a conversation about some of those difficult topics, and that works right from nursery right the way up to to the end of sixth form. We've got everything in between. As you can see, we've also got special schools. So we have outcomes that we would expect schools to meet, but we don't prescribe how you get there, because we know that every setting is different and unique. And so we support you in getting to that. So we talk about this being a journey, and the more that you work with us, you'll hear us use journey quite a lot. It's not something that happens overnight. We don't expect it to. We don't want it to. It needs to be something that is embedded properly into the school. Much as the journey to becoming an integrated school takes time, so becoming a fully rights respecting school, will take time. Some schools will take 3-4 years to get up to gold. That's totally normal and expected, because it follows the three strands of the 9 outcomes kind of follows almost sequentially in terms of how easy they are to embed. So the first one will be about making sure that everybody's learning about rights. So talking about, talking to your governors, to the wider community, to parents, as well as your student body, making sure that things in school are related to those rights. So it might be that, they'll label where in the school rights are met. So you might have Article 19 about protection from harm outside the safeguarding office, for example. It'll be through lessons, assemblies, through tutor time, circle time, where it fits, where it's appropriate. Then the next strand will be about teaching and learning through the rights, so that starting to understand how what's going on in school is because they have rights, and understanding that they can ask for things in a really appropriate and easy manner, because everyone's got that shorthand of, well, I've got the right to have something I need. So you're talking about equity rather than equality. So somebody might need a fidget toy, somebody else might not, but absolutely it's the right of the child who might need that to help them focus, to access that, within a classroom to help them get their education. So you can use these conversations, with the children. They'll start then to use them to ask for what they're entitled to, but in a way that is really really feels safe for them to do that, because they're working under the convention. And then we start moving on to strand C, which is the last 2 outcomes, so outcomes 8 and 9, which is about pupil voice and about them starting to advocate for themselves and for others. We'll ask for you to have a steering group. It might be that comes from your pupil council, might be a separate group. Again, every school, every setting is different. But that group will then start to be quite, offended that other children around the world are being denied those rights that they have and they're getting in school. So it kind of follows, and it does take time. But I think it's really important to know that, as I said at the beginning, it's not the kind of award where you just fill in a form and then you get some, badge. We are always here. I will always be here as your professional advisor for Northern Ireland. I'm always at the end of the phone, Teams meeting, on the end of an email. We've got training courses for every level of the award. So bronze is about being committed to the award. So telling everyone you're going to do it, making sure that everyone, has a bit of an idea, making resources available, making sure that you're aware of what the rights are, setting up a steering group, and then filling in your form, which is like an action plan to start embedding those rights. So that's your kind of bronze. Your silver will be then having a virtual visit where I'll come in, talk to some of your staff, talk to some of your pupils, talk to you and your leadership teams about, what now is starting to happen, being aware of rights, and then the goal, which is where we get fully rights respecting. But as you can see, there's courses for each of those levels. We've also got pupil participation courses. We've got strengthening global citizenship, introduction to global citizenship, and then we've got workshops throughout. So depending on where you're at, what kind of setting you are, we've got kind of drop-in workshops which will be facilitated by one of the professional advisors. Might be me, might be one of my colleagues, and again, they're there to support you through the process. So you'll never be on your own. There's a Facebook group as well where people are always asking for bits of advice and suggestions for how they might have done a particular thing. So it's something which is there, and our structures are really, really solid in terms of offering staff training as well. We've got an e-learning suite available as part of the membership, so you can share that with all of your staff teams. They can go and do that at their own pace in twilight sessions, which is really, really helpful. Or you could deliver something from the front, entirely up to you. You will find, as you kind of get to know us, and hopefully you will, there's loads of resources. We don't expect you to use all of them. We don't expect you to do all of those things that we suggest. We offer them. You take what you feel works, and you leave what you don't. So that's kind of the framework, as I sort of suggested, that of the 9 outcomes, they're organised in that way, and we find that works really, really well. The way in which that is structured, I think, having had to do that paperwork several times, being reaccredited at Gold twice at my previous school, it works well. It makes sense, and if you're unsure, you can always ask. We're always here. So you might be thinking, okay, well, this is sounding promising. If I can get my school population to talk as eloquently as those children, what's the impact? We always talk about, that the question that one of the questions we'll ask, and people always want to know, when you come visit, what do you ask? And we always just ask about the impact. What changes have you seen? And we see schools talking about, increased attendance, better engagement, outcomes, across the board. And sometimes it's difficult to unpick. That's definitely because of, the rights respecting work. But, we see that once children are engaged and once they are, able to really give their input. I was speaking to a school the other week that had said that they'd engaged their children in some health and safety walks around the school. And they'd completely changed the way in which the children lined up in the morning. Because they asked the children, why is this a bit rowdy? Why isn't it working? And the children said, why don't you just, let us come into the building, have a nice, slow, soft start to the morning. We can come and read a book, calm down, get ourselves organised. They tried it. Fantastic. Suddenly, what the teachers were trying to get this to achieve this aim. All they needed to do was ask the children. They came up with a solution. They then, change the playground around because it wasn't quite working. But again, ask the children from their perspective. You get that engagement, and then just in terms of inclusion, if a student is feeling that they are safe in that environment, perhaps they're delivering a workshop about their heritage or about their religion or some aspect of themselves, that will help them to feel included and part of the school. And that's what we're aiming for. It just does make a real difference. This is an excerpt from an English Ofsted report. Often we get reports that will reference children knew about their rights. The impact was great. They were very respectful, very articulate. Often we find schools will say the children were more confident, again, because they've been given that permission and the language to be able to explain, what it is that they need and they're entitled to. So we always find that it crops up in various different reports for different awards. Also, you might find that it's very useful for the evidence as the Excellence in Integrated Education Awards as well. And likewise, when you're using, when you're filling in our forms, work that you might have been doing through your Excellence Award also kind of counts, because, as I said, that the values and that joined up thinking works so well with both of them. So it's a fantastic, both of them are fantastic programs that work really, really well together. And we've seen that over a number of years. So this is the bit that probably you're thinking, okay, but is it going to cost? Yes, it will. But we think actually what you're getting is really good value. Because, as I said, we're not just going to give you a little badge for your website. You will indeed get one of those, and it's silver and gold. You'll get a great big banner to stick outside the school, and a nice certificate as well to stick in a frame. But actually, what you're getting for that membership is an awful lot of support, an awful lot of resources as well. So when you sign up, you will get a starter pack as well. So that pack will include lots of physical resources that you can use. So that's obviously a one time only. You won't need more of those, but they're really, really helpful just to kind of, get the ball rolling. And then, as I said, you've got access to as many of those courses as you can possibly fit into a school day, and the workshops and all of those things as well. That you can access, and I'm always available to support. So there isn't a rush to get to gold, but obviously you can see once you get to gold, the cost does go down per pupil. If you are a very large school, it will be capped as well. So I know some of the schools are kind of upwards of I think we had 1,800 pupils or something when I was working. So we were capped at, I think it's 1,500 at before gold, and then 1,000 post gold. So, if you've got a really big school and you're thinking, that's a lot, we try to make sure that we are as equitable as we can be. We're not making a profit. We're just making sure that we're covering the costs of your accreditation visits, obviously putting on all of the online training, you're getting your resources and your banners and your certificates and so on. So there's a lot that's included in that, and we hope that you'll come and join us, and that you'll see the benefits. There's loads of stuff on our website, just in terms of information and what's involved, so you can always go and have a look for yourself, and investigate what the depth of the resources that we do have. Hopefully you will come and join us. So that's the end of the kind of the formal presentation. So really now we're just here I'm here for questions. So perhaps if we turn off the recording, and then anyone can ask any questions that they want to.